There's a theory going around that I need to address. People keep saying Charles Bingley and Anne Elliot are the same character. Both gave up the love of their life because someone told them to. Both victims of persuasion.
Journey here. He recently came to the rescue of one of his friends just in time.
What happened?
He saved the man from an imprudent marriage.
Who was the man?
His closest friend, Charles Bingley.
Well, you know, we'd also just so wish that Charles had married Anne instead. Oh, I just so wish Anne had accepted him. Of course, Papa and Mamma always think it was her great friend Lady Russell's doing. Well, they think Charles was not learned and bookish enough for Lady Russell. So she used her persuasion to make Anne refuse him.
And I get why it sounds right. On paper, the pattern looks identical. But here's the thing. The pattern isn't the point. Why someone does something is the whole point. And when you look at the why, Bingley and Anne aren't even in the same category. One of them made a sacrifice. The other just didn't have a backbone. Today on Monica's Pie, we're separating them for good.
You deny it, Mr. Darcy. That you separated a young couple who loved each other, exposing your friend to the center of the world for caprice, and my sister to its derision for disappointed hopes, and involving them both in misery of the acutest kind.
I do not deny it.
Let's go to the text. Anne Elliot was 19 years old, motherless, with no real authority figure in her life except Lady Russell, her godmother, her mother's closest friend, the one person who actually loved her. And Lady Russell looked at Wentworth and saw a young man with no fortune, no connections, and a career in the Navy during wartime. She told Anne it was a bad idea. Austen's exact words, Anne was persuaded to believe the engagement a wrong thing, indiscreet, improper, and incapable of success, not just impractical, wrong. Anne thought she was doing the right thing for Wentworth's future as much as her own.
I do not blame you, nor do I blame myself for having been guided by you.
That's not weakness. That's a 19-year-old acting on her conscience with the limited tools she had.
That I should have been happier had
You were but 19, Anne.
At 19, to involve yourself with a man who had nothing but himself to recommend him.
Now, Bingley. Darcy's own account in his letter to Elizabeth, chapter 35, Bingley has great natural modesty with a stronger dependence on my judgment than his own. That's Darcy describing his best friend's defining character flaw in writing while trying to explain why he thought he could just redirect that friend's entire love life. Anne deferred to a mother figure in a genuine ethical crisis. Bingley deferred to his friend because trusting himself was too much effort. That's not the same thing.
I've done my best to stand in your mother's place and offer the advice I believe she would have given. And now...
Here's where it gets worse for Bingley. Anne Elliot spent 8 years in conscious agony. She knew exactly what she had lost. She watched her youth pass. She saw Wentworth again and felt every year of it. Austen writes that Anne had been forced into prudence in her youth. She learned romance as she grew older, the natural sequel of an unnatural beginning. She was a fully conscious participant in her own tragedy. Bingley, he didn't even know Jane was in London. Darcy admits it in chapter 58. He had never had the slightest suspicion. Jane came to London. She stayed for months. Bingley had no idea because nobody told him, and he never thought to ask. He didn't pine, he didn't suffer. He just moved on cheerfully because the people around him rearranged reality and he accepted the new version without question. Anne Elliot was a victim of circumstance. She chose wrong, but she chose consciously. Bingley was a victim of his own passivity. He didn't even know there was a choice being made.
Though a little out of spirits, she reproached me for giving her no notice of my coming to London, and I thought it very strange that both my letters should have gone astray.
Very strange indeed.
And this is the part that actually matters. Anne Elliot in 1806 was a woman with no legal standing, no independent income, and no real power to defy her family without social and financial ruin. Lady Russell's argument that Anne would be sunk into a state of most wearing, anxious, youth-killing dependence was not just snobbery, it was a real description of what happened to women who married badly and ran out of money. Anne's options were structurally limited in a way that Bingley's simply were not. Bingley was a wealthy, independent man. He had his own estate, his own income. He was not subject to Darcy's authority in any legal or financial sense.
And so generous that you will always exceed your income.
Exceed their income? What are you talking about? Don't you know he has 5,000 a year?
Saying no to Darcy would have cost him what exactly? An awkward friendship? For Anne, defying Lady Russell meant risking everything. For Bingley, defying Darcy meant being an adult. He chose not to be. Austen didn't write Bingley as a male Anne Elliot. She wrote him as a warning. Anne Elliot is what constancy looks like under real pressure. 8 years, conscious, hurting, and still capable of recognizing the right thing when it finally came back around. Bingley is what happens when a genuinely good person mistakes agreeableness for character. He's kind, he's warm, he causes complete disaster anyway, because kindness without judgment is just a more pleasant way of abdicating responsibility. At the end of the novel, Elizabeth watches Darcy tell Bingley that Jane actually loves him, and she could not help smiling at his easy manner of directing his friend. That smile is Austen's verdict, not cruel, just clear-eyed. The distinction isn't between being persuaded and not being persuaded. The distinction is between who is persuading you, why you listen, and what it costs you to do it. Anne knew all three. Bingley never thought to ask. Tell me in the comments, is Bingley's kindness enough, or is it just a more charming version of spinelessness? I'm Sana. This is Monica's Pie. Stay sharp, stay cynical. See you in the next one.